the bane of my life. I'm asked about eggs all the time. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? I really wish it was easy for me to say that eggs are fine, eat as many as you want, they're completely innocuous, cholesterol in eggs doesn't matter at all, or don't eat eggs, they're really bad for you, they're going to give you heart disease. There's clear evidence to suggest that. In reality, it's a bit of both, and it's nuanced, and it depends on your biology, your unique genetics, and the rest of your lifestyle as well. So first of all, let's talk about what eggs are. Eggs are a brilliant source of nutrients. They are full of protein. They contain micronutrients like lutein and zeaxanthin. That's important for brain health and eye health. Not to mention B vitamins and choline. They have specific types of fatty acids that are fantastic for your brain, like omega-3, vitamin D. Overall, if you look at the profile of eggs, it's a fantastic whole food that has been eaten for millennia. I eat them myself, and I recommend other people eat them as well. The uncomfortable truth, however, is that consumption of more than 2 eggs per day is associated with and will raise your total cholesterol and LDL-C as well. That is a fact. And unfortunately, that is an uncomfortable truth that even though I would love to have a cognitive bias, a cognitive dissonance away from it, when you look at the studies, it's quite hard to argue against that. But like any food that has saturated fat, like meat products, for example, or cholesterol, I always turn to Paracelsus. And that is to say, all things are poison and nothing is without poison. The dosage alone makes it so a thing is not a poison. That is to say, the poison is in the dose. The amount of eggs we consume, coupled with the quality of the rest of our diet, is an important factor in determining whether you choose to eat eggs or not. It is completely your choice. Plus, an individual's response to dietary cholesterol, just like we said at the top of this podcast, and saturated fat is highly variable. Depending on your genetics, depending on your microbiota, you might be one of those people who can eat 3, 4, or 5 eggs and not have any impact on your LDL-C or total cholesterol levels or ApoB levels at all. Very, very lucky if you are. It can have no impact on those levels. Or, on the other hand, you could be one of those very susceptible people who can have a sniff of those foods and have an impact on their ApoB levels and their LDL-C levels as well, thus increasing your cardiovascular risk, as we've determined LDL-C raised levels will confer. Published in the Journal of Clinical Lipidology in 2015, dietary cholesterol has modest effects to increase total C and LDL-C levels on average. So this is what people always say when they're trying to protect against their precious cholesterol-containing foods. However, in the same journal, they admit and they say that there are hypo and hyper responders in the population, and unfortunately at present there is no widely available or inexpensive method for clinical use to predict who is likely to experience a change in atherogenic cholesterol or not. Basically, there's going to be an effect in some people, but there's no way for us to tell you whether you're going to be susceptible or not. You basically have to experiment yourself. There are also some people that say that no matter what their LDL-C cholesterol level is, as I mentioned before, as long as my inflammation is low, it doesn't really matter what my LDL-C level is. Or there are also people that will say, well, it raises my LDL-C cholesterol level, but it also raises my HDL-C cholesterol level. And it does, and some studies actually demonstrate that. And so overall, that mitigates the effect of those atherogenic particles in circulation. Having a low-carb diet with eggs improves your insulin sensitivity, so I don't need to worry about it. I think that's potentially dangerous, and I'd prefer to play the numbers and actually reduce LDL-C because it is causally related to the development of atherosclerosis. Everything is about trade-offs. So for the convenience of a nutrient-dense food, and delicious food, how willing are you to have a slight raise in your cholesterol levels? An average of an egg a day is unlikely to have, just one egg a day, is unlikely to have a significant or clinically meaningful impact on your LDL-C levels as per European Society of cardiology guidelines and American lipid guidelines as well that we'll reference on the podcast show notes. However, if you already have high cholesterol levels, ApoB, LDL-C, total cholesterol, and you've optimized other areas of your diet, I think it would be a reasonable suggestion to remove eggs from your diet and monitor your bloods and see what impact that has. And if you are a hyper responder to cholesterol and fats in your diet, particularly from saturated fats, again, it's something that I would consider removing from your diet. As much as I love eggs and as much as I love consuming eggs, that is the fact. And instead of removing the fat from your diet, I'd replace those eggs with plant-based fats. As we've discussed, plant-based fats have a beneficial impact on your LDL-C and ApoB levels. This is a really controversial subject, and it's definitely nuanced. Having some eggs in your diet doesn't automatically make it bad. It doesn't automatically make it good because of all those, the profile of eggs that I've just talked about a second ago. And this is where a lot of people, including myself, and I like to call myself out here, are practicing that cognitive dissonance because we don't like to appreciate the uncomfortable truth of the fact that eggs have this cholesterol raising effect. But overall, your diet isn't determined by a single ingredient. I'd be wary of the cholesterol raising effect of eggs. I would start off by having no more than 1 egg a day. And if you are not a responder to cholesterol in your diet, you can have as many eggs as you like in your diet. But that depends on you doing your individual experimentation as to whether your LDL-C and ApoB levels go up when you consume eggs or not. And if you are trying to aggressively lower your LDL-C level, which is what this podcast is all about, then I would remove eggs from your diet, as much as it pains me to say that. And it's hard to find a nutrient-dense food of the same magnitude as an egg that is convenient and in the whole form, but the facts are the facts, I'm afraid to say to myself. Probiotics are another one that get a lot of attention. I've been asked about probiotics and the effect of cholesterol lowering effects. I think we've got a long way to go. The only things that I've come across are mouse studies, animal studies that aren't particularly useful, because how something reacts in a mouse or an animal does not necessarily mean it's going to have any effect in humans, actually. In a mouse study, a probiotic combination of VSL3, which is commercially available, it has lactobacilli, bifidobacteria, and Streptococcus salarius and Thermophilus and all these different strains. That was found to improve lipid profiles in mice. In humans, again, very limited studies, a double-blinded placebo-controlled study involving just over 100 subjects with high cholesterol levels. The same group reported a decrease in the LDL-C levels by around 9% after consuming the probiotic in the form of a yogurt. I think it's very, very early days for probiotics. I think I'm bullish on the mechanism of it having a cholesterol lowering effect because of what we know about fiber, the impact on modulating your microbiota, and the hypocholesterolemic effect of that as well. But when it comes to cholesterol lowering effects of probiotics, these supplements don't tend to have great evidence for now. Not to say that you shouldn't have probiotics in your diet in the form of yogurts, kefirs, krauts, kimchis, but when it specifically comes to whether I can recommend this as an LDL-C lowering ingredient, I can't really say that for now. So, in conclusion, if I had a patient, or you're my patient, and I'm trying to lower your LDL-C cholesterol levels, which is, what I think would be a pragmatic thing to do, given that the rates of cardiovascular disease and the causal effect of cholesterol in cardiovascular disease, what would I tell you to do? If you were a perfect patient and I was trying to aggressively and perfectly manage your diet, lifestyle alone, and all the other stuff that we need to do as well, but just your diet, this is what I would do. I'd put you on a portfolio diet, which has those 4 cholesterol lowering foods plus plant fats. It would be supplemented with plant-based proteins. I would put you on an exclusively plant-based diet, which had plant-based proteins, ensuring that you were protein replete, which is something that can be quite hard to do exclusively in a whole food plant-based diet. I would add good quality fats from extra virgin olive oil and avocado, as well as good quality good quality nuts and seeds. I'd potentially even add supplements in the form of phytosterols that we discussed earlier, beta glucans, psyllium, and flax as well. There is some evidence around spirulina having a hypocholesterolemic effect as well. So you could even get a green supplement with my prescription, my dietary prescription. And maybe if I could find a good source of red yeast rice, maybe that is something I would add as well, just because of the impact, the mechanism, the fact that it has statin-like effects with potentially lower side effect profile. Remember, all these things are great, and you know that is a hypothetical situation where I am uniquely positioned to give you the prescription and you are 100% compliant with it. But it's not just about the knowledge of all these different foods. It's really about the implementation. It's something that I always go on about. The science is complex, as you've just heard. The solutions are simple. The implementation, that's the hard stuff. That's the really, really hard thing to do, which is why our focus is on doing the recipes for the app, doing the recipes in the cookbooks, and making it easy and giving you practical tips like I've just gone through today to make it easier for you to implement on a daily basis. If you enjoyed that video, you'll love the library of content that we have on thedoctorskitchen.com. Make sure you hit subscribe, and we have podcasts in our library on brain health, well-being, supplements, and lots more. Have a wonderful day.